about my team meeting over there. Gotta make sure that we're the last ones, otherwise we gotta move it.
Okay, we're ready to go on here. I'd like to welcome everyone to our University MMU Fall Media Day. We want to give a thank you for Gary Nelson putting this together as the presentations coordinator. I'd like to thank our sponsors. Format of today is pretty simple. We will have our fall coaches join us. Give them an opportunity to talk about their teams. Give you an opportunity to ask them questions. Kicking it off today will be Dan Fitzsimmons. Dan has several hats here. In the fall, he coaches our cross-country teams, men's and women's. Dan.
Well, thanks for having me. It's pretty exciting to get the season started. We've had 5 practices. Today they have off because I kind of had them doing double days yesterday and got a little warm in the afternoon, so we usually give them Thursday off. Overall, it's been pretty exciting. We have 17 runners right now that are running on our squad. We have 10 returners, 7 newcomers. I'll kind of go through the members a little bit here, but we do open up our season September 1st at the Augie Twilight, which is usually an exciting event for all the athletes. A little nerve-wracking for us coaches because they run at night in the dark, and I'm always worried about someone rolling an ankle, including myself, trying to get around the course to see them run. But so far things have been going really well. We had a team time trial the other day, and when we compare it to our time trial from a year ago, we had some significant improvement. So we feel like our team has really progressed over the last year, and with the addition of some of our freshmen and newcomers, we feel like our team will be a little bit better than we were a year ago. How much better, I don't know. That requires some birthdays, and we're going to be pretty young, particularly on the men's team. And so many of those athletes, at high school level have run 5K, and now they're jumping up to 8K. So it's going to take a little while to develop and transition from 5K to 8K. The women are actually transitioning from 5K to 6K this year, so there's a little bit of growing pains that go with that. But I think our women will do just fine doing that. When we looked going into this year, we knew it was going to be a little bit of challenge losing Brian Santiago and Kaden Heidecker, 2 of our important stalwarts that we've had in our program for the last several years. Brian is actually student teaching this fall, and will have eligibility to run the Fall Marathon Classic, which has now been reinstated. So in December, provided he can get qualified, hopefully he'll be representing Mount Marty one more time in the Fall Marathon. They're actually doing that in conjunction with the California International Marathon out in Sacramento, and that event is going to be held December 3rd. the athletes have to do two-hour time trials, and then we have to submit those. And once those time trials are submitted, then they're gonna rank the athletes and decide who qualifies for that marathon classic. Like I said, we did a time trial the other day. Chris Gonzalez came in as our top returner. Chris had a breakout year last year. Chris was a 30-minute 8K guy that by the end of the season was running 26, and that carried over to indoor track where he was all conference, and then in outdoor track he was all conference in the 5K and 10K. So we looked for him to be our new leader of our cross country team. And in the 3K time trial, he was leading right up till the end. And then one of our freshmen, Ethan Fritzinger from Arizona, passed him. Ethan is quite the talent. He's run 4:20 and 9:27 in high school. So he was a great catch for us. Chris finished not too far behind, and not too far behind Chris was Logan Ferrari. This one's a little interesting. James will get a kick out of this. All the years I've been coaching, I've always wanted to give back to my high school, someone from New York, and I contacted one of my old teammates who coaches at a junior college on Long Island, and he recommended Logan to our program. So I gave Logan a call, and as I'm talking to Logan, I said, "Where'd you go to high school?" He goes, "Longwood High School." I said, "Well, French Fry didn't tell me we were from the same high school." I said, "Well, where do you live?" He goes, "Ridge." I said, "I'm from Ridge." Long story short, he grew up 2 houses from the house I lived in my senior year of high school. So it's real exciting to have someone in our program. It's been a long time since I've been able to relate to some of the Long Island things I still remember as an athlete. And to hear him talk about the same places I grew up with my introduction to running is pretty exciting. After him was Tate Reed. He was fourth for us. Tate was our anchor of our 4x8 conference championship team indoors. Jacob Cooney, he finished next, and he ran sub-2 at the conference meet. We looked for great things from him. Owen Kuntz came in. He's a young man from Sturgis. I think he ran like 2 minutes flat 6 times last year. So he's going to give us some added depth in the 800 and the 4x8. Liam Beatus is back, and Liam was one of our integral parts of our 4x8 relay team, and we looked for great things from him as well. And then we picked up Ryan Santiago's brother Alan, and we think he's going to develop over time and do some great things as well. And then we picked up a young man, Donnie DeSursa, who I think, when you watch him run, he's a really good-looking runner, and he's got some strength to him, but he's a skinny little distance guy. But he's got some untapped potential. I think over time we're going to hear some, nice things from him. And then maybe one of the guys I'm most excited about when we have our first meet is a young man named David Phillips. David didn't get a chance to put the uniform on for us last year, but this year he's going to get to put the uniform on. It will be the first time with me being the coach that I'm going to get to see David run with Mount Marty across his chest. And I think that's going to be a very special moment because he's a guy that puts in a lot of time and a lot of effort. And he embodies what we're trying to build here. He has that never quit attitude. He may not be able to keep up with some of the guys, but he's going to finish the workout no matter what. And I think that goes a long way in developing a culture that we'd like to have. On the women's side, Jordan Fisher has decided to move over to cross country full time. The last 2 seasons she's competed at conference and then one time ran the Mount Marty invite, so she only has 3 cross country meets under her belt in her career so far. But she had an outstanding track season, was an all conference runner in the 10K, and we look for her to be challenging for our #1 spot. And she had top honors at our time trial. Emily Johnson and Kaya Trainer traded off last year as #1s. Emily was on one of our top finishing 4x8 team, and Kaya trying to finish the season as her #1. She's actually student teaching in Crofton right now. Not a bad program to student teach at, and then she's helping out with cross country there. So she's kind of double dipping a little bit, running with the high school kids at Crofton, and then trying to come over for practice when she can. Bree Eisenhower is kind of a steady stalwart for us. She had significant improvement as the year went on, and she looks like she's coming to camp in a better spot than she was a year ago. Then Grace Hollis kind of came on strong at the end of the season last year. We look for her to do the same, and she's kind of a pistol. She likes giving you a hard time, and she kind of keeps things light and warm-hearted. And then we have a young woman. She didn't get to run the time trial. She's a little banged up. Presley White She graduated from Roosevelt High School. She's a 5:13 miler and a 2:17 800 runner. She actually ran 2:17 on the Yankton track, and I kind of kidded her after she did it. You know, she had home field advantage. So we're looking forward to having her in the program, and as she gets healthy, she'll probably challenge Jordan for that number 1 spot. And we also picked up her teammate and friend as well, Alexis Gosh. Alexis has run some cross country, but she's been mostly a 400/800 runner at high school. We're hoping she's going to add a little bit of depth to our team in the 800. Those are our members right now. We open up again on September 1st at Augie. Our home meet is October 21st. And then the GPAC is just down the road at Briar Cliff. So we don't have to travel up to Jamestown again this year to go compete, but hopefully it'll be a little warmer than it was up there. And then the national meet is on November 17th in Vancouver, Washington, which our athletes that feel like they got a chance to qualify are really excited about. So I'll open it up to any questions.
You go through your coaching staff?
Well, for cross country, I predominantly just do the cross country. Randy Fisher still comes down and volunteers when he can. Brian will help when he can as well. Seth Liebelhouse is our new addition to our track and field staff, and he'll kind of be running fall track while I'm off at cross country practice. And then we have, my wife is still working with the jumps, and then Clint Schroeder still has the pole vault, and Delvin Potter is still working with the throwers. And then we picked up Lainey Clark. She's one of our grad assistants, so she'll be helping Seth with the women's sprint group. And then we have Adriana Sims, who's helping out with sports information, who may help us out a little bit with the jumping events. Did I miss anyone, Seth?
You got it.
In terms of numbers, are you kind of where you hope to be in, for this year, or?
Oh, I don't know if we're ever where we want to be. We'd like to add depth. You know, that'll be the challenge, is to kind of grow the numbers. You know, one of the things when I was coaching at Yankton High School that we were probably most proud of is we have the largest team in the state, and that's eventually a goal that we'd like to have here. So we're just going to keep growing the program as much as we can, and you know, anyone who loves running and wants to come and work hard and improve, this would be a great spot for them, and we just got to get word out that we're taking those athletes.
On the academic side of things, your women's team had 13 Daktronics scholar athletes, most of any team at Mount Marty. Relates to that?
Well, I think that's a large reason why they came to Mount Marty. You know, many of those athletes, actually I didn't recruit, but when I talked to them, they came to Mount Marty for the academics. You know, a lot of them are nursing majors. And so, as long as we keep that as our point of emphasis, you know, I think we'll continue to have that kind of success in the classroom. And that's always been kind of our mantra. We always put faith first, family second, and education third. And it's just ironic that athletics is what brings us all together, but really it's somewhere down the list. And you know, every day I challenge them to remind me that that's the order. And you know, when there's times where they have to miss practice for academic reasons, it's a no-brainer. And so I think those kids still like that concept that they get to participate in athletics. And of course, I'm fortunate enough I coach a sport where they can go out and run on their own too. So it's if they're not at practice, it's not like they're getting the work in.
In terms of where you see this, both men and women in the league this year, where do you have them projected?
Well, last year I think correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we had our highest finishes at 6th and 8th. So we'd like to improve upon that. It's difficult to move up the GPAC standings. Some of those teams ahead of us are so deep and they return so many athletes, it's going to take a year or two before they start having some birthdays that graduate. And of course, Jordan is the defending national champion. So I think we can be top 5 in the men, because I thought we could be close last year, and unfortunately some injuries kind of held us back from that. And then the women, you know, if we can move up a spot or two, that would be a great challenge for us, but I think it's something we can accomplish. Any other questions? Well, I'd like to thank our sponsors. I'm going to go chow on some of that food. And next up, we have our men's soccer coach, Oliver Tillman. got this one, yep.
G'day, obviously my name's Oliver Tillman, head men's hockey coach. This year should be a good year for us. We've brought in some really strong talent. We've brought in a few JUCO players, a couple of NAIA transfers as well, and some really strong freshmen. Coaching wise, so this year we've got myself as head coach, my assistant coach Elio Trejo, we have a volunteer coach in AJ Alamont, and one of our players who graduated last year, Sebastian Guerrero, is coming in as goalkeeper coach for us to help out with my keepers. This year should be a strong year for us. We returned a lot of players, only 2 transferred out, and the rest obviously graduated. We're very lucky to have a few players coming back to play their COVID year. 2 standout seniors from last year, Matias Romero and Diego Sanchez, are coming back to play their last COVID year and have joined the master's program here, the Masters in Education Coaching Leadership. So we are very lucky to have them returning. They're both seniors that played multiple minutes last year. I think Diego nearly played every minute of every game, same as Matias. And those guys are leaders and stalwarts for our squad. So having them back is huge for us. We have a lot of seniors coming back that are playing their last semester here. Between Israel Jimenez, Brandon Cervantes, Jonathan Castro, Jason Chavez, they're all coming back and they're all big parts of our team. So coming back from last year, I think from our starting 11, the only one who is not returning as a player is Sebastian Guerrero, but he's obviously coming back as a coach for us. Quality of players is very high. We maintained a lot, so we're able to carry over from last year. Last year's finish obviously was a disappointing one at the end against Hastings, who we conceded in the final 2 minutes. But the improvement that we saw, we lost to them 5-0, and now we improved to tying with them, except for outside of overtime, and it's huge. And only one other team in the GPAC tied Hastings last year, so for us it was a good stepping stone, and this year we expect to do a lot more. Players coming in, so we brought in, big sign for us was Francesco Panaccioni. He's transferred from Georgia Gwinnett. Georgia Gwinnett were a number 5 team in the nation for the NAIA, so him coming in is a huge boost for us at centre back. Garwo Cavallari has shifted out of centre back, so hopefully it allows us to play him in his natural position of right back. Picked up 2 players from Garden City Community College, Dan Tibbett and Georgie Downs, both from the UK. Really big personalities. I love their football. Their soccer. For them it's football. But they're great characters. We love having them there and they're already gelling as part of the team. Another player from the UK, James Terry from Crowder College in Missouri. He's cool, calm and collected. He's out there working off and just doing what he needs to do. We did pick up 3 players from presentation. Obviously, in closing, gave us an opportunity to sign some players that want to prove themselves, that play in the GPAC and get going. So Max Welch, who's also kicking for the football team, Justin McClure from Australia, and Jaden Brooks from South Africa. We've got some really talented freshmen coming through. So Avery Wells from Missouri, his brother-in-law played here, Mel Gable. So it's really cool to have some kind of connection to who these players coming in. Aiden Taylor is a freshman from Utah and Washington. He's already proving himself with some of our veterans. He's eager to learn and be a part of it. Cabot Cleveland, local guy from Sioux Falls, he played at Roosevelt. He's really hungry to show his ability here. Santos Ander from Illinois, he's a good player, he's working hard, he's already in the gym, wants to get better, bigger. And then another transfer that we got from New York was Alessio Pirello. He's a Italian-German player, goalkeeper for us, so just adding more depth into our goalkeepers. Season starts off this year. We've got 2 games against D3 colleges up in Minnesota. We're going to go on a trip up there. First team is Hamlin University on the 25th, the Friday, and then the next day we play Crown College. It's a really good opportunity for us to play somewhere a little bit different. We haven't been on a trip in 4 years, so to be able to fundraise, have the athletic department helping us in fundraising means that we can go play some different teams, go a little bit outside the ordinary for us. So it'll be a really good test, show the boys that the NAIA can compete against these NCAA teams. First GPAC game is at home on Wednesday, September 13th against Don. That's always a good challenge for us. Don struggled last should be a good season for us. We want to go forward. Our goal for us is to finish top 4. We think we have the ability. We've returned a lot of players, and we want to host a playoff game. Last 3 years, we've finished 8th, and we don't want to do that anymore. We don't want to be versing 1 every time. We want to be higher. We want to compete, and we want to play at home and show Yankton that men's soccer is a force. Any questions from anyone?
Yes, what are the things you feel will be the difference between that you guys have to do better to move from finishing 8th the last couple of years to getting to that top 4?
So I think the big thing from last year is we didn't have as much turnover in athletes as we have had previously. We've kept a lot of the same core. Even myself as a head coach, this is my second year, I feel a lot stronger. I did make some mistakes last year, but I'm learning from them, and Andy's, the AD's given me opportunity to grow, and I really feel like the recruiting class that we've brought in is our best recruiting class in school history, and that's going to build on the players that we already have, and we'll have depth so we can play the whole season with a strong team rather than kind of petering out at the end due to injuries and workloads. A big thing is just as we're growing, we only graduated a couple, so just that returning group is really strong, so we can get straight away from the get-go.
You mentioned a guy playing soccer and football, both kicking. What's his practice schedule like?
He's working like mad. He's committed to both programs. When we're doing fitness, he's doing our fitness. I know Mickey probably talk more about it, his practices, but he's just an animal. He's here to prove something. He came from presentation. He's got everything to prove, and we appreciate it. I don't know how he does it personally, but especially in this heat, it's very commendable, and we appreciate every ounce of effort that he gives.
What's practice been like with you?
Practice hasn't been too bad. Obviously, we've got our trainer out there helping us out. We're trying to go mornings and evenings, so we're avoiding that main part of the day. But it's manageable so far. The boys are doing well with it. We're adding conditioning in every day. We felt like in past seasons we've spent 80 minutes playing, and that last 10 is where we've let down. We've conceded a goal or conceded a couple goals, stopped playing. So conditioning's been really important for us this season. This morning at 8 a.m. they were out on a 3-mile run. It's just we need to keep working on that, but the heat is helping us with our fitness. Any other questions before I pass on?
No, I think we're good.
Sweet. Alright, let's introduce the next person. Obviously the head women's soccer coach, Cynthia Chavez.
Good morning. Hi. So this season we have a total of 21 on our roster. We have 6 new players coming in, majority of them being freshmen. From what we have seen so far, the energy that they have brought this season, or these past couple of days, they have a high energy, they have competitive level, and we've been very impressed with them so far already. We have 6 seniors as well. Each of them lead by example in their own individual way. A lot of our new players and our younger players have already looked up to them, and just are we going up to them and have different questions for them, have different ways of approaching them, whether it's on the field, off the field. So they're very comfortable with our seniors and kind of reaching out to them in any way. During the spring season, it was kind of slow for us. I think the weather kind of threw us off. We did a lot of indoor and futsal stuff, which isn't ideal for us, but we were able to manage and get a lot of technical work in, and just focus on our footwork is kind of the main goal was for us this year. We had a young team, so when it came to that, we like to play possession, we like to shift the ball, and we like to keep the ball and keep it on the ground, and the technical work just had to be there for us to be able to do that. So focus on that a lot in the spring. lot of technical work in the spring this year, or this, fall camp so far. We have seen a lot of progression, especially with our returning players who picked up on a lot of that technical stuff. And then, you know, just to kind of start getting heavy with fitness, we had to focus a lot on fitness for them, and we have been very proud of them. I think last year we were dropping like flies the first 2 days, and this year everybody has been able to maintain and keep up with the expectations that we have so far when it comes to that, and being able to get being fit ready, and you know, not having any issues or injuries early on in the season this year. So, I don't know. Any questions?
As who are some of your returning players that you expect to have a bigger impact this year?
Did you say which players?
Returning play, yeah.
Oh, with
Yeah.
returning players, expect our captains, you know, Kelsey and Samara this year. You know, Samara's one of our very, very quiet, players, but every single player is always coming up to her individually, asking for advice, when it comes to being on the field. I think she's one of our leading by examples, in a quiet way, and, you know, all of our girls are just in awe of her, so she is very one that we expect to see step up. We, you know, did let her know that we need her to be more demanding, and, you know, she's working on that. Kelsey Taggart, who is another one of our captains as well, she just has, you know, that leadership skills. She's very demanding of the team, and has, you know, the, expectations set for them as well when it comes to being on the field. She's one of our more fit players as a goalkeeper, and it's kind of weird, but she's definitely the one that pushes them to their limits and tries to get it out of them. Tiana is, you know, one of our other fit players, and she's someone that everybody wants to compete with when it comes to being on the field. You know, they see her, they see speed, and they're trying to figure out how they can stop her and how we can kind of keep up with her when it comes to fitness during practices and stuff. But again, they all just kind of lead in their own individual way. So it's really hard to handpick exactly which player we feel like is going to take that top role for us.
How about among the newcomers? Who are some of the kids that have surprised you so far?
That one is tough. I think Kendra McKinney right now, she could step up for us in both on the defensive line and the center defensive position as well if we need her there. But she's very calm. She knows the game. She, you know, won state champ last year, so she kind of gets the game a little more. But I think right now, all of our newcomers have really stood out to us a little more than probably some of our returners. But again, there's been a lot of praise to all of them. So.
Talk about how important this group is to be fit. Do you have any off-season requirements for fitness to get in shape for preference?
In the summer, we did have a fitness and lifting program. So we did a lot of agility. We did a lot of you know, just short sprints. We did a lot of just long distance. We kind of did a mixture of the two or the three. So that way they are getting, you know, we are needing a lot of short sprints when it comes to games. We are needing a lot of full field sprints when it comes to games, and a lot of just being able to stay in shape for at least 45 minutes straight. So we did do a lot of fitness over the summer. I think we did more of every other day. So Monday, Wednesday, Fridays consisted more of, you know, the hard sprints. Tuesday, Thursdays, we had them doing lifting, and then just some ball work along the way. But we made sure that every other day was more of a harder day than it was, so it's not an everyday thing. So we did that for 10 weeks, and I think a lot of the girls, you know, kept to it. One thing I mentioned to them was, you know, if you're gonna make sure, if you wanna keep your position and you wanna keep your starting position, you know, you gotta come in fit and you gotta be ready. And I think a lot of them really took that this season and did the work over the summer, so.
team-wise, what'll be the things that'll help you guys improve and move up the conference standings?
One thing that we put in our heads a lot was just kind of having that champions mentality. What is it gonna take to be successful? Are you doing it for yourself, or are you doing it for the team? Are you actually tired, or, you know, are you injured? So which one is it? We had to let the girls know that the effort needs to come from them, and we can't coach it. So a lot of the girls so far, they really took it into heart. I think the last 2 years, coming in this fall camp so far has been the best that I've seen, when I first took over. They're a lot more motivated, they're a lot more confident. We're doing a lot more, you know, team building, team bonding stuff for them to make sure that we have that family culture, within the team and chemistry. So, I think them understanding that and it kind of meshing more, is gonna help a lot with us on the field and off the field.
When did, I guess, go over your schedule a little bit, if you're able to, like, when's your first game and who you guys taking on for?
So we will travel down to York, August 23rd. We, you know, last year we were able to tie them, and we, were able to maintain a standard to where we can, keep up with them. I think the year before was another challenging, game against them with, you know, we lost in overtime to them, but, last year we were able to tie them, and so I think there was a little bit of progression there. So it should be another challenging, game for us this season. We should be able to take them on. They have a new coach, so game style could be a little different. And then we will be back here in Yankton on September 8th against Bethany College. Okay. I want to introduce head football coach John Micheletti.
First, I want to thank everybody taking a little time to listen to the fall sports and a little bit about our preparation for the season. I think each year since I've been here, there's been a little bit more excitement into Lancaster athletics, and a lot of that's due to the great leadership we have, you know, with Cindy, Jason, and Andy within the athletic department. I'm getting ready to start third season here, third season as having a football program as well. Looking back over starting with spring ball, we left on a positive note. A lot of continuously grow together as a team, have certain guys step up in leadership roles, being a little bit more comfortable in that situation where you can hold each other accountable. Which then catapulted us into summer, which was a long summer, but went by pretty fast. You know, I think it was a blink of an eye, and you know the kids were reporting and all that. So we had just over 40 guys stay here in the summer, which is outstanding. That is almost double the year prior to that, and once again, that's a great example of exactly the dedication and all the buy-in these guys are having. It does help having older guys now. Obviously, those guys that start to live off campus, and that helps with the housing issues a little bit more as well. Big thanks to Coach Rosie, our strength coach. Obviously, he's the one that spends most of the time with them in the summer, 4 days a week, about an hour and a half at a time. Obviously, he's got the great resume and all the stuff that he's done in the past, but the interaction with the kids doesn't go without talking about there. So far, we had our returners come back August 1st, and new guys came in on the 4th, so we weren't able to start practice till the 5th. But we just finished our 5th day, which finished our acclimatization period, which was two just helmet practices, 2 shoulder pad practices, and then we just had a full pad practice yesterday, which got to do some live segments, which was obviously very fun. Got to put some good stuff on film and get some good graded practice there to really start to help align that depth chart. We had our guys vote on captains, and all those guys were able to run for leadership over the off season. The guys that were voted were John Carlstead. He is an older, he is an ex-Marine, but he's an older guy that is getting ready to start his junior year. Obviously, with that military background, you can tell it's pretty easy for him to show up on time, hold other people accountable, do all that hard, gritty work. He's an excellent guy to have in the room, especially when there's not a coach around. Another one is Dalen Norman. He's another defensive lineman. He's number 15. He was actually here in our very first year before we had football. And I can't talk enough about how great strides he has made since he's been here. You know, and a lot of that has to do with him surrounding himself with better people. You know, when he got up here and got comfortable, you know, with some great leaderships. One guy that was a two-sport athlete was Kiko Nunez, who did an outstanding job of really investing in Dalen and seeing his potential. And now you see Dalen being a leader on our team now. So very excited for him. Austin Viance, everybody calls him Biggie. He is from Brandon Valley. He is our super back, which in normal terms people call that a fullback. We just kind of move him around a little bit more than a normal fullback. But he is one of the most important parts of our offense in that position, just because of how versatile that position can be. And really that goes hand in hand with his personality, because he is everything from an RA to some other different committees that I can't even think of right now, but he is involved in everything and an honor roll student on top of all of that. Jonah Miyazawa, who is probably a more recognizable name because it's not a common name, but he's also leading the GPAC in yards per catch over the last 2 years. Big play receiver, getting ready to enter his senior year. Very excited for him to see what he can do in his last year here. And then our last captain that was voted was Kenneth Gay II, which is a returning starting quarterback, guy that stayed here this summer, invested in the program, and excited to see what he can do in year 2, calling the plays there. We have 20 seniors this year, which is a big jump from the 2 previous years. So very excited to see those guys kind of leave their mark on the institution, kind of be able to set it up for the next guys. We've had, now moving on to our freshmen, we've had one of our best recruiting classes to this point, not only talent-wise, but also GPA. Average GPA, the guys coming in are over 3.3. Usually it's pretty hard to have freshmen play, but with some of these guys that are talented, it's going to be hard to keep them off the field. So it's part of our job as being coaches is finding unique ways to get them on the field and put the best 11 out there per play. Talking a little bit about offense, Coach Lewis is returning as the offensive coordinator. Coach Zook is our co-OC, dealing more with our O-line. We have all but one back on our starting offense from last year, so very exciting to see those guys and what they can do this year with production. The one guy that is not coming back is Kiko Nunez, who's just going to hang up and just play baseball this last year, as he has an opportunity to continue playing baseball beyond college. So, and he's going to stick around, like I mentioned before, with Dalen to be in a leadership role. Very thankful for his dedication. We've added weapons and competition at all spots. We have some very good O-linemen. I think that's where the offense starts, is being able to have good offensive linemen to either create holes or create protection for whatever you're trying to do on the offense. So being able to get a good guy from a state championship team here in South Dakota to getting guys from Texas and Iowa, things like that are going to provide great depth at our offensive line. Obviously, quarterback is one of the number one most talked about positions. We have a excellent returner coming back in Kenneth Gay, and you've seen 2 games started by Clayton Meyer. We have another guy that I guess he just would have done holding last year, but that is Jace Maker. And then the new guy is Rugby Reichen, who has done an unbelievable job of adapting to the offense, competing. Fun fact is we had our conditioning test, and he tied the record as a freshman on the first day. So very excited about him. You may even see him moved around in a few different spots, but at the end of the day, the ball's got to be in his hands because good things happen when the balls are in his hands. And then the last quarterback we have is Nolan McDermott, who is also a Elkhorn Jefferson, South Dakota kid. He was also a wrestler. He looks like it. He's very, very good with the ball in his hands, running the ball, making good decisions. So there's going to be some good competition in that quarterback room, and it looks bright for the years to come. At running back, we have both leading rushers coming back from the year prior, which is Isaiah Thompson and Tyree Morrison. Tyree Morrison did switch his number this year, so he'll no longer be in 22. And that kind of hurts my heart because that's the number I wore in college. But he now switched to number 7. And then our third actually leading rusher is back as well, Jaden Horach. As you've seen him get quite a few carries there and be our short downage back. We've had a few freshmen step up, and in the running back role as well. Gavin Swanson, a Yankton kid, has already battled a little bit of an injury, so he hasn't had as many reps, but he's one of those gritty guys that continues to give everything. We have James Hurd, which is a kid down from Texas, who is very good at running power. If you watch any of our clips from last year, we run a lot of power, so he's going to fit in great to our scheme. And then we have some started to provide that at tight end behind Rex Wright, and he decided to come back and be a grad transfer, or a grad student for us, not a grad transfer. He stayed here. But he led all tight ends in all receiving categories last year. So it was good to have him back. Behind him, we have Charlie Kelly, who's just been pretty unfortunate with a couple of injuries in his first 2 years here. So technically, he is a freshman going into his third year freshman eligibility-wise. He's backing him up there. Jack Rowland and Jace Lamel will be there at tight end behind Rex Reichen. And as I mentioned, Jonah Miyazawa will be back, and then a few of our other top receivers in Trey Hansen and Trevor Fitzgerald. We have also added a guy that looks a little bit different. He's very tall. He's about 6'4", 215, freshman out of Tennessee, Rodney Broadnax. That you'll see him a little bit on the special teams return game as well. As this stride, I think, hit every 5 yards, so it's pretty nice to have one of those guys on our team. And then up front, as I've kind of mentioned the importance of those guys, but all the returners coming back, minus the one. We did get a transfer in that semester from Roosevelt, but then he went up to UMary. Nick Bunkers, they call him Beef, which I think is a great nickname for an O-lineman. Automatically climbs on my list of favorite nicknames for O-linemen. But he's done an excellent job of taking over that center role, which is very important in all offensive line. They ID every front, whether it's the run play, pass protection, all that stuff. And that guy registered last year at UMary, so he gets to come in and have 4 years, so we're very excited about him. Defensively, excited with some new looks on the defensive side under Coach Grace. He's a guy that I hired as a defensive coordinator, so I could step away and be more of a head coach. And I'm very excited about that. I've had some opportunities to chime in offensive meetings, talking about putting guys in different positions. I try not to be a micromanager with Coach Lewis, as he's a good guy, but I like to have some fun and be like, hey, maybe we can do this with this guy and stuff like that. So really appreciate Coach Grace coming over and taking some of that pressure off me on the defensive side, so I can do a little bit more of the head coaching stuff. But he's done a great job commanding that room on the defensive side. Lost our leading tackler last year with Drew Pendleton, but he has stuck around to be a student coach as he finishes his degree. Great opportunity for somebody to step up and fill that role, though. That's one position that we felt we did a very good job of recruiting at, is that middle linebacker spot. It's still in very, very good competition right now with a few different guys. We brought in a transfer at semester from Ellsworth College named Nick Breon. He's originally from Boone, Iowa. Unfortunately, had a little bit of an injury in the spring, so we didn't get much of an evaluation, but he's doing an awesome job so far in fall camp, and he's another one of those guys that stuck around all summer. Brought in a transfer from Monterey Peninsula College out in California, Jacob Lambeth. He's one of those guys that when he just starts talking, everybody just kind of wants to be around him, everybody wants to listen to him. So one of those guys that just kind of walks in and has already been a leader. One of those guys that even the guys that have been here have already kind of started managing to. So. And then Cade Manzanares, which is a senior going into this year. Those three guys have really been competing at that Mike spot. A lot of new faces though, all around the defense. I think that overall was one of our weaker points last year, was the big plays on defense. So being able to bring in some talent and some competition was one of our big goals. Moving on to special teams. I think we never talk enough about special teams. There's a few games last year that still will taste good in my mouth looking back on just special teams, so I'll be taking a little bit more role in that room. We have two kickers, one of them that we already talked about, that we share with soccer, Maxwell Welch. We've done a fantastic job. And then we had Jack Finder, who is another kicker that came in that semester, has done a good job as well. We have a punter, a new punter, I should say, Michael Hankinson. He transferred in from West Hills College, but originally from Wisconsin. And has really done a great job of, we haven't hit the pin deep stuff in practice yet, but flipping the field scenarios and things like that in punt, he has done an outstanding job. With us continuing to build depth on both sides of the ball, offense and defense, you're going to naturally see a little bit better talent, I should say, on special teams, because as you say, like some of those guys that might have been starters last year might be a 2 now this year, and you'll see them a little bit more energy to be able to excel on special teams. So very excited about those 3 groups, and we have our first scrimmage. I don't even know what day it is today. It's next Friday, I guess. Against Dakota State up in Madison. So we'll have a good example of, or we'll have a good test of what we have on product there. And then our first actual game is August 26th, 6 p.m. at Crane versus Culver Stockton, which is a team out of the heart of America, which is another very good conference. Culver Stockton, their head coach, Tom Sally, is a good friend of mine, so looking to get going against them and have a little friendly rivalry there. What questions do we have?
Who's wearing 22 now?
Somebody special. As you can see, I apologize for my voice. We've had a lot of fun. One of the things that we've kind of modeled our off-season off of is a model called Full Benefit that we've really stolen from the Navy SEALs. And that's one of the things that, if you've heard me talk, I always like to talk about adversity, and that's just life in general, right? You don't know what's going to happen to you. You just got to be able to prepare and move forward positively. And we got tested with that right away. Our very first practice, we had a tornado watch where we had to move inside. So we had to move everybody right inside. Luckily, with a great facility, we were able to move and do that without skipping a beat. The second day, looked like it might be a little bit of rain, maybe a little mist. We said, hey, we'll be fine. You know, Full Benefit, let's have some fun. And then it downpoured. And everybody's looking at me like, you're going to call this? And I'm like, no, we're going to roll through this. So we had to do some unlogging of water with the balls, which is a fun fact. Shaving cream does an outstanding job of getting the water out of the balls. So if you guys learned anything today, that's one thing. And then obviously it just keeps raining in the middle, or yesterday, rained in the morning, we got to head out there again to the grass. So we've got to put that into play, getting Full Benefit, and excited to see our guys continuously handle adversity in a positive way.
How did the Culver Stockton game come about? I mean, obviously you had a presentation lined up, and then they ended up closing.
Yeah, very unfortunate event there with presentation, but honestly, I got talking with Tom Sally at a national football convention. I'm like, I'm looking for a game. He's like, you know, I am too. And I said, well, let's talk back in a month. If we don't find a game, and let's put something together. And it was honestly that quick.
What happens to the Catholic Cup?
It stays home. See if we can get that in with, was it Briarcliff? They're another Catholic school, right? See if we can start a friendly right with them.
How's the locker room?
Very good. Yep. It's nice to start the season in the locker room, be able to keep in the locker room, it's not having to transition. I think this time last year is right when we were moving in there, so no, we can continuously add a few cool things, whether that's a game system. I don't know anything about that stuff. It was cool to put a arcade Mortal Kombat in there. And I was like, that's more up my, more down my alley there. And come to find out they had a game on there called Paperboy, which is something that I played a lot of Super Nintendo back in the day. So.
What are the things that are going to take you guys from a 3-win team last year to further up in the standings?
Obviously, the obvious question is complete game. I think we did a great job of starting games fast and having a good first half, first quarter, things like that, but being able to finish. You know, and whether that's finishing a drive, we want to make sure that we're continuously going fast on offense. But you can see sometimes last year that hurt us. You know, we got pretty tired when we got down the goal line and weren't able to finish the drives. You know, but it also helps having kickers on rosters this year, so we can at least get some points out of that drive. And making sure that one negative doesn't turn into multiple negatives, you know, so that Dordt game is one thing we talk about a lot, you know, being able to be up 13-0 and then a blink of an eye we're down 14-13 just because of a few mistakes that happened back to back, you know, which is hopefully a positive now that happened to us, that it won't happen again, so.
So Kiko's playing baseball only, what does that look like for your offensive line? He's been your guy the last couple of
Yeah, he's been a great leader for us. Fortunately for us, that both springs he's had to go play baseball, so we've had to deal with that in the spring ball anyways. Like I said, Nick Bunkers has done an outstanding job of taking over that role of center, and really everybody's kind of bought into him and really not skipped a beat. Anil Pastrana is our returning all-conference offensive lineman. He's another guy that stayed here most of the summer. He actually talked his brother into coming up here, who's a freshman defensive lineman for us this year, Yafnil Pastrana. I think we'll be pretty good up front and continuously have more and more depth.
Can you talk about some of the impactful transfers?
Yep. Let's see, where do I want to start? Let's start on defense. One of the guys that continuously has proven to be a favorite around here. He stayed all summer, worked over at CJ's on the Lake. He's Gabe Baptista. He's from Southwestern Junior College out in San Diego, California, but originally from Hawaii. Another one of our Hawaii hits, and I'm gonna keep saying that until somebody sends me out to Hawaii. But he's done a great job of being open-minded, obviously adapting to everything, being in a new land that looks nothing like Hawaii or California. The winter was a little bit crazy compared to the last few winters that I've been here, and I remember the first time he came, he was like, "When's the snow stop?" I'm like, "Don't worry about it, one day I'll wake up and it'll all be gone." And he kept calling me a liar until eventually it happened, and but he loved it here this summer. He does a great job with all these freshmen. We did a big brother system where they all matched up with a new guy coming in, and that was a kind of idea that was started in a conversation with him, allowing new guys to feel more comfortable when they get on campus. And Cedar James Brinsley is another safety right now. He is been going to his sophomore year. He transferred from Mary Hardin Baylor down in Texas. Tall kid. He's also going to be a little bit on special teams doing some long snapping. He's very talented there as well. Has great range, being able to cover ground, things like that. Another great quarterback that is back on defense, being able to make checks and things like that. Talking about our linebackers, already hit on Lambeth a little bit, and Nick Breon, both of those guys that were transfers. We also have DJ Wilson, who's a guy that is very versatile in his, pass rushing abilities, dropping abilities, doing everything on defense. So whether that's, it's fun for us to be able to see where can we put him to cause confusion for the quarterback, or to put a little bit more stress on the edge defenders there, or edge blockers there as a tight end or a tackle. So those guys will allow us to hopefully bring a little bit more pressure on the quarterback, create a little bit more turnovers, things like that. We've had a few guys up front be able to transfer in. We have Miguel Hernandez, another Monterey Peninsula transfer. We have Talman Staton. He's an interior defensive tackle. Be a big guy. He's about 6'2", 290. Guy that we can't miss. He's very, very intelligent, high football IQ guy. And then, like I said, on offense, the biggest one for us is Beef, Nick Bunkers at center, and then being able to provide some new freshmen there on the edge there at the skill positions.
3 night games this year. What does that do in terms of kind of tweaking the preparation and all that?
Yeah, it makes for a very long day, that's for sure. Because no matter what, I still wake up at the same time and we just sit around all day waiting for the night game. But no, it brings great excitement. Obviously, most of our guys, I know different states do different things, but most of our guys played in the Friday Night Lights deal, and that they love that, playing at nighttime. Something about that in the fall obviously brings a little bit more cool weather as well. But it's something that helps bring excitement hopefully from fans, but also from our players. But really, it just pushes everything back. So we just try to hang out, watch some college football, catch some of those earlier games, get a couple more meals in the day, and then start our normal routine of prepping for a game.
Can you talk about the incoming local freshman?
Yep. Hit on Rugby Riken already. Outstanding athlete. He's done some punt returning, he's done some kick returning already for us. When we were doing some stuff in the summer, he's like, "Coach, I'll go play receiver, I'll do everything." He's one of those guys that doesn't ever stop moving, which is kind of like myself, as you can see, I'm still moving. But love the competitiveness of the kid, and that's one thing that in the recruiting process we talked about a lot. He's got that it factor of that I'm going to give everything I got. I'm going to be all in for everything. Whatever you want me to do, Coach, I'll do it. I'll hold the ball. I'll put shaving cream on the balls if I have to. Whatever I have to do to make sure that I can help out the team. And like I said, we gotta find, unique ways to get him involved, you know, because it just seems good things happen when the balls are in his hand. Cooper Grunheis is a corner. He's, another, two-sport athlete, talking about rugby also playing, basketball. Cooper though, also double dipping with track. Has done an outstanding job of starting to physically mature. That was my one thing, that I was kind of nervous about is, with him, he's obviously very talented, but I was worried about can he hold his own physically, and he's answered that question right away, and, very gritty in his size, and he's got super long legs, obviously, I know most track guys do, but it's hard to get beat deep with him, so I'm very excited with that, to have that addition on the back end. Talking about Gavin Swanson, already a little bit, he had a little bit of an injury, but battling back, and I know that toughness with him has always been one of those strong suits. Kid from Bon Home, Isaac Crownover, was a three-state, all-state athlete, continuously is picking up everything. I know it's a little bit of adapting to, you know, 11 man and everything like that, but he's learning fast. He's put on a lot of weight this summer, and I expect to see him quite a bit on special teams and fighting for one of those roles at one of the outside backer spots. Might have missed somebody, but those ones.
Rex Reichen returns.
And Rex Reichen returns, so I am a happy man.
Who's your graduating class this year? How many you got that are gonna be?
Well, so we got 20 of them, or 20 seniors, but there's about 12 of those guys that hopefully we can get back for one more year. Rex being one of those. He's got another year after this, so 1 year at a time with him though. Awesome. Well, thank you guys very much. I'd like to introduce our head volleyball coach, Coach Alberto here.
Well, sorry I have to go after John. I know he talked really well, so I'm gonna try my best. I was nervous already, and when I knew I have to go after him, I got a little bit more nervous, so I'll try my best. Like you say, I'm Coach Alberto, I'm the head volleyball coach at Mary. This is my third year as the head coach. I was the assistant coach, graduate assistant for 2 years before that. So I've been here for a while now, and we have back Sofia Lobo as an assistant coach this year as well. And then we're adding a graduate assistant, Morgan Burnett. She's coming from Dawn. She was a manager for the volleyball team at Dawn, and then she did track there. So we are really happy that she's here. I think the more people, the better, because our roster is growing. We never had that many people in our roster. I remember my first year here, I think we were like 19, 20. We have 33 this year, so it is different when we are in the gym. Like, we don't even know where to look anymore. There's people everywhere, so it is an adjustment for us as well. So it's really important that our staff, we are all on the same page. Our class is probably one of the biggest ones since I've been here as well. We have 10 freshmen and 2 transfers, so 12 new people in our roster. A lot of local people, a lot of people from South Dakota. I think we have 6 people from South Dakota, 3 from Nebraska, and then 1 from Wyoming, 1 from Canada. We have an international freshman, and then we have another freshman from Colorado. So big class, big roster, so a lot of adjustment for everybody, but we are really excited. Probably one of the best recruiting class that we have had since I've been here as well. So we are really, really excited to start actually next week. We have our first game next week. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about all the freshmen and transfers. I didn't think I was gonna need a roster. Normally, like, I remember all the names, but with so many people, I wanna make sure that I know everybody. So we are bringing 3 new setters, Brianna Evan, Jessie Nelson, and Hannah Lee. 2 of them, Brianna and Jessie, are freshmen, and then Hannah is a transfer from Presentation, and she's gonna be a sophomore. So pretty young class as well. Even our transfers, both of them are sophomores. So we are really excited. We had a lot of people either graduating or transferring, and they were all setters. So we needed to bring more people back. Ali Delane, of course, setter in the past for the varsity roster, for the varsity team 2 years ago. She has to step out for a year, and then she's back now. So we are back on track with all the setters. Now we are moving actually some of the setters to a hitting position because of the number of setters that we have this year. But it's a good problem to have when you have too many people in one spot when you don't have enough. So we are really excited with all the new setters as well. So we are bringing 9 new headers. We graduated 5 headers last year. They were all in the varsity roster, so we needed to add new faces for those positions. So a lot of the freshmen are gonna be getting that playing time for varsity from the first year. So out of those freshmen who are hitters, we have Olivia Hansen. She is from Nebraska. She's a middle, but we are moving her middle right side. One of the good things about our new transfers and freshmen is that they can play more than one position, and as a volleyball coach, that's what you want, that if you need to move something around or for the lineups or one rotation, they can play more than one position. So we are really excited with Olivia. We also have another middle, Athena Senen. She's probably one of our big recruits this year. She's a freshman from Wyoming. She's truly middle. She's 5'9", I'm pretty sure, yeah, 5'10". She, for being a middle, you would think she's pretty short, but she can jump. So we are really excited to see her on the middle as well. On that position, we have Aubrey coming back from the varsity roster last year. She will be a junior, so we are really excited to see the middles that we have this year. Another middle that we have is Lindsay Wysowski and Emma Cook. Emma is a transfer from presentation, and Lindsay was committed to presentation. So after they closed down, we reached out to them, and they were really excited to continue their education and their volleyball career with us. So we are really excited about them as well. Addison Indahl, she's an all-state player, Class B, South Dakota. She's from Burke. And we are really, really excited. I know she's been talking to a lot of the school during her recruiting process. I know Dakota Wesleyan was talking to her as well. Her sister used to play there as well. So we are really happy that she decided to come to Marbury. She's gonna be a big impact player as well. She's an outside hitter, so she can play all the way around. And like I said, as a freshman, a lot of these players are gonna be getting a lot of playing time for varsity this year. So overall, we are gonna have a pretty young team on the court. Another hitter that we are adding is Gabby Miller. She's from New Underwood, so another kid from South Dakota. She came as an outside, and we've been practicing for 3 days. We already moved her to the middle, and it's another problem that we have now. We have so many good middles that it's going to be a hard decision for me to decide which ones are the ones who are starting on varsity. Like, it's just so surprising to me how these freshmen are getting really, really quick to all the things that they need to get probably in 2 weeks. They are getting them in 2 or 3 days. So they are putting the work. I think they're really excited, and I think they all know we have a bigger roster and everybody needs to earn their spot. So I think that's the mentality that we are trying to have during preseason. Like, these freshmen are coming and they are coming to save your spot. So like they say, nobody's safe. The seniors are saying to the freshmen, yeah, nobody's safe because they are coming. Another big hitter that we are adding is Ava Wolf. She's from Canada. 6'1", right side lefty. I don't know if you guys know a lot about volleyball, but you want as many lefties as you can have in your team. You have 2, so if wish that we have more. The reason why you want lefties is because it's harder to block them. You have to read them better. Your approach is just different. So we are really, really excited about her. Today they had their morning off, and she texted me last night, hey coach, can we work a little bit on my blocking? I just think I need to get better on that. So that's the kind of players that we are bringing here. Like, they put the extra work, and like I said, they are all trying to get better every single day. Another hitter, Brooklyn Williams. She's an outside from Oregon. She was one of our latest commits through the recruiting process last year. She was coming to Marbury. She loved the school, she loved the town, she loved the community, and she reached out to me and she told me she wasn't done playing volleyball. So we were really happy that she reached out to us. She's an all-around player. She can play front row, she can play back row, so we are really, really excited to have her as well. Like I mentioned before, one of our setters, Hannah Lee, she's a transfer from presentation. She's making an impact already. She's a sophomore. Having Ali Delane as one of our main setters graduating this year, it's nice to have people on the back. Or for whatever happens, you always have to have a backup for every single position in volleyball too. So we are really excited that she's just stepping up as well. So yeah, it's a big class. I think the last one that I need to talk about is Kate Tolliver. She's from Sioux Falls Lincoln High School. A really nice kid. She just fit into the program, the school. She's an outside hitter. And then again, as another outside hitter, she can play all the way around. I think our recruiting class is just really complete. It's not just they can do just one thing. I think they can do a lot of things. And like I said, as a volleyball coach, that's what you want. That you don't have to be so specific in one position, and you can switch them around, work on what is gonna work better for your rotation. So like I said, we are really, really excited for this class. For me, probably the best recruiting class that we have so far, the biggest one that we have so far. So I think it's just putting everything together, and we don't have that much time. Our first game is next Friday. We're going to a tournament in Illinois, so we'll have 2 games on Friday, 2 games on Saturday. So this year we are playing 12 games before our first conference game, which is actually a home game. Our first home game will be against Dome. That will be our first conference game. But I think our schedule couldn't have worked any better. You are playing 12 non-conference games, and for those that you don't know, you don't want to play D-PAC teams more than you have to in volleyball. Like, they're already ranked. You play number 1 week in the nation, you play number 3, then you play number 5, so you don't really get a break. So it's nice to get into competition and playing non-conference game, and this year we have 12 games before our first conference game. So I think that's the main change from last year in our schedule. I think we need to play games before we get into the conference games as well. So yeah, I'm gonna open up to any questions that you guys have.
First games are next week, you getting to practicing?
Yes, well, it's gonna sound bad. We gave them the week off, the morning off today, but I think sometimes that's what their body needs as well. I think we've been going morning and evening, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and we had a really good practice last night. We had actually 3 2024 recruits who came for practice, and they did their job yesterday, and I think I'm a coach who think that sometimes it's just better to take their mind off, bodies off, and then come back tonight. They don't have the whole day off, but they need to come back tonight and then put their work back. Because like you say, we play next Friday, so you want to give them day off, but at the same time, you have to get things done as well. But yeah, we've been in the gym all day so far, so yeah, trying to get there.
So with the 12 non-conference matches before you start conference play, what's the level of some of those teams that you're going to be playing?
Well, yeah, the level is they're lower teams, and the level is lower. Some of the teams that we're gonna play that you guys know is Dakota State. They're ranked. They have a rank in the top 25 in the nation. They go right to the opening round for nationals in the last 2 years. So yes, the level is not any better, but you need to play at that level to be able to compete against a ranked team. It's just nice sometimes to see your opponent and they don't have a number right on top of it. So it's just nice, but yeah, the level is not lower, but it's just, like I said, playing different teams. With the tournament that we're going to Illinois, there are teams that we never played before, so I think that's something that is good for our team, so you need to adjust to different situations as well. But yeah, just trying to get ready for those opponents too.
And what are the things that are going to carry this team above where you're ranked in the preseason poll?
I think it's all gonna be mindset. I think skill-wise, we have really good athletes coming in. We work really hard during the spring. I think something that we are working really hard with our team is the mindset. I think last year we had really close games, even beating like these ranked teams like 24-21, and we couldn't finish. So I think the finish part and believing that you are there, I think that's a transition that we need to make. Like I think in the past we're like, oh, it's okay, we are there. I think now we passed that point, and we work a lot on mindset. We do a lot of work off the court, because sometimes I think that's more important than any pass, kill, set. So I think the mindset is gonna play a huge role this year. So like you say, prove them wrong that we are not the 11th team on the conference.
Last year it seemed like it was JD Lang, one bringing all the energy. Who's it this year?
Well, I think her sister, Ali Delaney, is stepping out this year too. Like JD has a big personality and she carries a lot of people with her. I think this year we don't have one person bringing the energy. We have a lot of individuals. I'm really proud of our senior class this year. They've been showing a lot of leadership in the last 3 days of first 3 days of preseason. So I think it's a team thing this year. Like we talk how much important it is to communicate, bring that energy to the core, because during practice, you need that as well. So I think this year is not a one-person job. I think it's more like a team job this year. But yeah, I think learning from Jamie Delay last year, I think it helped a lot of them to bring that energy like she did last year. Any other questions? Okay, well, thank you so